Okay, welcome to the last lesson before the calculation test, which is simplify the third. And before we know about the third, the first thing we need to do is to know what is rational numbers. So can anyone fill the blank here for me? Rational numbers are all numbers which can be expressed as some what, where both numerators and denominators are integers. The answer is very obvious, right? We have numerator and denominator, which means only the fraction can have numerator and denominator. And then we complete, yes. And then we complete the rational definition of rational number, which is the rational number are all numbers which can be expressed as some fraction where both the numerator and denominators are integers. For example, I have 1 over 2. This is a rational number, and also 2 over 3. This is also a rational number. And if I write 3 over 1, this is also a rational number. And usually we write it in a simpler form, which is just 3. Then for the third is just a rational number, and we put a root on it. And this third cannot be simplified to a rational number. For example, we have root 2. This cannot be simplified further. And also this root 5 cannot be simplified. But if I have root 4, this can be simplified further, right? And we can get a simplified form, which is, can someone tell me? Yeah, that is 2, all right? Then after we know the definition of the third, we can do some simple calculations. First, we will learn something about the multiplication. So when multiplication 2 thirds together, for example, we have root A times root B. Then we just combine it to write a bigger root sign and copy these rational numbers under this root. All right, for example, we have root 3 times root 2. Then we just write a bigger square root and then copy 3 plus 2, 3 times 2 here. Then the final answer should be root 6. And another example, when we have 2 root 3 times 3 root 5, what can we do? We should first know that this 2 root 3 can be written as 2 times root 3. Similarly, this 3 root 5 can be written as 3 times root 5. Then we just multiply them together. And the next step is just to multiply rational numbers by rational numbers and third by third. Then we can get our final answer as 2 times 3 equals to 6 times root 15. All right. And then the next situation is my favorite situation, is when we multiply 2 thirds that have the same number or terms inside the square root. Then we can get a whole rational number or terms. For example, we have root 5 times root 5, which can be written as root 5 to the power of 2. And this power 2 and the square root cancel each other out, which free this 5, and we get the whole rational number as 5. Then for the letter inside this root sign, what can we get? Yes, that is just m, which is root m to the power of 2 equals to m. Then for the third answer, can you type your answer in the chat box? Yes, it's very, very easy, right? Then we just have root xy square equals to xy. So we get our summary here. Whenever this a is a number or a term, the square this root a to the power of 2 is always equal to a. Okay, then this is the multiplication of the third. Let's move on to simplify the third. To know how to simplify the third, we first need to know how to factorize the third. For example, we have root 35, and this 35 have a factor pair, which is 5 times 7. To factorize it, we just need to split this bigger root sign into two smaller root sign, which is root 5 times root 7. And if you want to check your answer is correct or not, remember that factorizing is the reverse of multiplying. So, for example, if I want to check the factorizing result of this root 15 equals to root 3 times root 5, then we just need to multiply root 3 times root 5 equals to root 3 times 5 equals to root 15. And this 15 is the same as here, so our answer is correct. And let's move on to the simplification. Here we have an interesting rules is when the third can be simplified if the number inside the third has a square number as its factors. For example, if we want to simplify this root 8, how can we do that? We already get the tip here is when we need to think about the largest square number, which is also a factor of 8. Can you write the largest square number for 8? Yes. That's very easy. That's 4. So we can write this 8 into 2 times 4, and we put the root sign here. Then just factorize it. We have root 2 times root 4 equals to this root 4 is 2 root 2. Yes. And we can further simplify this root 4 to a rational number, which is 2. Right. Then sometimes the question just give you like this 2 root 2, and then ask you to express this into a single square root. What can we do? We just do the simplification steps reversely, and then we get this root 8 as our answer. Okay, here we get an example. To express 3 root 5 as a single square root. How to do this? We should first start on this rational number 3 and write it as a square term, which is root 3 square. And also this is root 9. So we can get root 9 times root 5, and multiplying these two thirds, we get root 45 as our answer. Okay, excellent job, everyone. Yes, excellent. Then I will give you some practice question for you. So for the first one, this is root 3 to the power of 2. Can you write the answer? Yes. Very easy. We just use the formula we get before, which is root a to the power of 2 equals to a. So the answer here is 3. And for the second question, what is the... I can see different answers here. And in our first lesson, we know when we have negative base, but with the even power, the final result should be positive or negative. Can you type your answer? Positive or negative? Yes, that's a positive. So the final answer should be yes. Yes, should be 3. And for the third question, this is 3 root 2 to the power of 2. We can write it more clearly as 3 times root 2 times 3 times root 2. And then we multiply rational numbers by rational numbers, third by third. We get 3 times 3 equals to 9 times root 2 times multiply itself is 2, which is the final answer as 18. It's a very easy question, right? And then we need to simplify this third. And for the first question, I'm very happy that this question already given me the third form, which is two square terms multiplying each other. So this 4 is the square of 2, and this 49 is the square of 7. So first, we need to factorize this third as root 4 times root 49 equals to 2 times 7 equals to 14. Right, you already calculated right. Then for the next question, this is root 300. Can you find the largest square number, which is also the factor of 300? Type the square. Yes, I can see 100. 100, 100. Yes, that's correct. So we can express this 300 as 3 times 100. And we put this root sign. And then we just factorize this third into root 3 times root 100 equals to 10 root 3. Yes, I can see many correct answers. Excellent job, everyone. Then for these two questions, it's also easy. Can you write the answer for the first question for me? Can you type the root sign? If you can't, you can just write root and put these numbers here. Yes, many correct answers. So the final answer is just a bigger root sign with 3 times 7 inside. We get root 21. Then for the second question, we have two mixed thirds multiplying each other. Then the first thing we need to do is to multiply rational numbers by rational numbers and third by third. We get 1 over 2 times 4 times root 10 times root 5. And this, we can cancel a 2 here and leave with 2. Then we can write 2 times root 50. And yes, of course, you can leave the answer like this. But we can see that this root 50 can be further simplified. Why? Because it has the squared number as its factor. Can you tell me what is the largest square number of 50? Yes, 25. So this 50 can be written as 2 times 25. Then we can do the further simplification as 2 times root 2 times 25 and factorize the third as 2 times root 2 times root 25 equals to, this root 25 is just a 5 here. So the answer is 2 times 5 equals to 10 root 2. Yes, excellent job. Excellent job, everyone. Then we can move on. Here we need to simplify the third like this, where under this root sign we have both numbers and letters. It's the same, right? So for the first one to see it more clearly, I can write root 9 times x. Then factorize this third, we get root 9 times root x, which gives us 3 root x. Yes, excellent job. Then for the second one, we have root 3x to the power of 2. What can we do? Yes, I can already see many correct answers. Seems like this lesson is very easy for you. Yes, and we can do it step by step. We have root 3 times x squared, and then we split this bigger root into root 3 times root x squared, and we can write it as x root 3. And be careful here, we always put the rational numbers or term in front of this third number. Why? Of course, we can write it as root 3x. But if I like, 3x, Can you tell me, is this x under the root sign or not? Can you tell me? No, you can't, right? So to make sure like you do not make any writing mistakes, you always write the rational numbers in front of the third term. And be careful here, this x is strictly positive because under these square root terms, this number should always have the value greater or equal to 0. All right, and for the third question, I already see some correct answers here. So let's do it step by step. We can factorize it first as root 75 times root x to the power of 3. Then can you find the largest square factor of 75? 25, yes. This 75 can be expressed as 3 times 25. And also, can you find the squared factor for this x to the power of 3? No, it can be separated into x squared times another x, right? So we can write our expression as root 3 times 25 times root x squared times x here. And further factorize the third, we get root 3 times root 25 times root x squared times root x. Then here we can have this root 25 is 5. And this root x squared is just x. Then our final answer should be 5x times root 3x. We always combine these two smaller third into a bigger third. All right. Okay, excellent job. Any questions? Yes, I can see many correct answers. Then for this question, the question asks us to express the following mixed third into a single square root. It's still easy question, right? Then we first start with the first question, and we can change this 3 into a square root form, which is 3 squared, and we put a root sign, times root 1/3. Then we multiplying these two thirds, we get 3 squared times 1/3, and we can cancel a 3 out. Then the final answer is root 3. Okay, excellent job, everyone. So for the second question, one quick question. Can we put this minus sign into the square root? Yes or no? Yes, no, right? Because as we mentioned before, the numbers inside the root sign should always be greater or equal to 0. So to not forget to miss this minus sign, we first write this minus sign outside the square root. And then we put these two into the root sign, which is 2 squared times, we can write this mixed number as an improper fraction, which is 5/4. Then the final answer is negative root 5. Any questions? Yes, excellent job, everyone. Okay, this is our final question here, and I will give you 20 seconds. And can you type your answer in the chat box? Just type A, B, C, D for me, it's fine. Oh, I can see various answers here. Some of them are correct, but some of them are not. Okay, let's say it together. We need to express this negative 2a times root 3 over 2a as a single square root. Then some of you choose option C, which is negative root 3. Why is that? We can see why you want to put it like this. If someone choose this negative 3, this is just you simply leave this minus sign and put 2a into the square root. And then you get negative root 3, right? But actually, this is not the correct answer. And we can do it step by step. First, we notice there's a minus sign here. So we put a minus sign outside the root. And then if we want to put this rational number, which is 2a into the square root, what can we do? Can you write this 2a into the square root form? Yeah, we can first square it and also put a root sign. Then this term is equal to 2a, right? Then we just copy this root 3 over 2a. And the next step is just multiplying these 2/3, and we get a bigger square root, and we have 2a squared times 3 over 2a. And here we can cancel a 2a out. Then we're left with negative root 2a times 3 equal to negative root 6a, which gives us the correct answer as option A. Okay? So, and here is all of these lessons. First, we know the definition of the third. We can go through it one by one. We know the definition of the third, which means we put a root on a rational number or term. Then we know how to multiply in the third. It's just to combine this small third into a bigger third. And here we get a conclusion about this, which is root a to the power of 2 equals to a. And then we learn something about simplification of the third. The first step is actually to factorizing the third. And to simplify the third, one way is to find the largest square number, which is also the factor of this number inside this third term. And another way to simplify the third is to write it into a single square root. And that is all for today's lesson. And wish you all the luck in the calculation test in the next week. Any questions?